Thanks, Tina. Good evening and welcome to Look North. Tonight, should there be restrictions on stag and hen do's in York? York is the region's stag and hen do capital, bringing millions of pounds into the local economy. But one MP says that big groups on pub crawls are putting off families and tourists, and residents want their city back. Rachel Maskell wants a special zone created where nighttime drinking venues would be confined to one area of the city. Corinne Wheatley reports.
It's a top party destination. York has always been a popular choice for stag and hen do's and other celebrations for years.
I'm very lucky to live here because hen do's are very good in York.
But it's a nice place. We feel comfortable in York.
Yeah.
It's really nice and safe.
Yeah.
At the weekend, the city was full of big groups enjoying a day and night out in the city's pubs and bars. But is the party atmosphere all getting a bit too much for people who live here?
It's still before the evening, people are in the streets, inflatable dolls, there's a lot of bawdy behaviour, and of course if you've got little children, this is the last thing you want them to see. So we've got to ensure that York becomes a family-friendly city. It would be really good for the economy, really good for local shops and businesses, as well as of course the local residents who want their city back.
Rachel Maskell is calling for a zoning system for nighttime venues. It's a controversial issue, but certainly not a new one. It was even highlighted in this BBC investigation 16 years ago. And today it continues to split opinion.
It's a little overbearing. It just needs tempering a little bit, let's say. So, especially with a child, because it's just a bit loud and stuff. But
At the end of the day, life's too short. You've got to go out and enjoy yourself. And if it's not York, it's going to be somewhere else.
One company that organises stag and hen parties says bookings for York have increased by 98% since 2019, but says the vast majority of visitors don't cause trouble.
We had a freedom of information request. We had a look at all the trouble that's happened from stag and hens, and since the start of 2021, there's only been 7 instances. I think if you were to start taking away or chipping away at the edge of that, then what are you left with? Okay, so you get rid of stags and hens. Okay, well, what's next? Is it birthdays?
Local councillors have previously dismissed the zoning suggestion as impractical and point out that 20,000 people are employed in the hospitality sector. Meanwhile, though, the City Council is devising a guide with advice for hen and stag groups. The hope is that visitors can have their fun without leaving local people to deal with the headache. Corinne Wheatley, BBC Look North.
Extra clinics have been held at Sheffield Children's Hospital over the weekend to tackle post-COVID waiting lists. Extra staff were brought in for Super Saturday, with 120 outpatients seen. There are almost 17,000 young people on the waiting list at Sheffield Children's Hospital compared to 9,000 before the pandemic.
The list is obviously much bigger than any of us would want it to be. We do have a big challenge. We're working really, really hard to make sure that we're seeing patients in the right way and when patients need to be seen. It will take us some time. We've got a programme of work that's in place for the next few years, which will help us to make sure that we're getting through all of our waiting lists.
A royal gun salute has been fired in York's Museum Gardens to celebrate the birthday of King Charles. The 4th Regiment Royal Artillery, based at Catterick Garrison, fired 21 rounds to mark the monarch's 74th birthday. It's the first ceremony there since the death of the Queen in September. Now to the Rugby League World Cup, and there was heartbreak for England's women tonight in the semi-final in York. Leeds' Fran Goldthorpe scored their first try early on, and it was converted by York's Tara Stanley. But England stalled and New Zealand stormed ahead. The game finished England 6, New Zealand 20. The Kiwis will now take on Australia in the final. Now, Leeds Rhinos legend Kevin Sinfield has begun his latest fundraising challenge in aid of research into motor neurone disease. He's running 7 ultramarathons in 7 days. He started in Scotland en route to the Rugby League World Cup final. Kevin managed 40 miles yesterday, and after today's run, he's completed 78 miles in just 2 days. He's already raised almost £300,000.
I think what our team has tried to do is bang the drum, make sure the awareness keeps being generated, but also we're trying to raise funds, and we know that to find a cure, the only thing that is going to be able to do that is the money. You know, there's moments throughout when you're running 40 miles where your mind's all over the place, and you know, we're 2 days in, and I have to say I'm pretty happy with where we're at the minute.
Amazing stuff. Now, an 11-year-old schoolboy from Leeds has scored the highest possible score in a Mensa test, beating Albert Einstein and Stephen Hawking. Yusuf Shah got the top mark of 162. As well as maths, Yusuf enjoys Sudokus and Rubik's Cubes. He's hoping to study maths at Oxford or Cambridge. Very impressive. Now, it's been a drizzly old day today, hasn't it? Let's see what the rest of the week has in store. Here's Paul with your forecast.
Thanks so much. Good evening. Well, today's been rotten. Tomorrow looks even worse, I'm afraid. It's cloudy with outbreaks of rain and drizzle. Some of that rain could turn out to be quite heavy, especially in the west. Bit of a respite on Wednesday, drier, brighter day before this next system brings further rain up on Wednesday night. So we've got a bit of a gap in weather systems developing tonight, so that mist and fog should continue to thin and lift, but rain returns towards the end of the night in the west. Lowest temperatures around 7 or 8 degrees. So a dry start towards the coast, but rain soon spreading north eastwards. And as you can see, that rain will become heavy and persistent. The greens indicate potentially some quite heavy rain. It eases off later in the afternoon from the southwest. There'll be extensive mist and fog once more, and temperatures around 11 degrees. Drier and brighter on Wednesday. Further showery outbreaks of rain on Thursday. Windy too. Friday could turn out to be the best day of the week. That's the forecast.
I'm looking forward to Friday already. That's it from the Late Team. Thanks for joining us. Good night.